Well, congressional Republicans are taking aim yet again at crime in D.C. About an hour from now, we're expecting the House to vote on a bill that critics call the most substantial rollback of D.C. home rule in a generation. Delia Gonsalves is live on Capitol Hill to tell us what's at stake here. And Delia, D.C.'s delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton is expected to address her colleagues before the vote. I understand that's correct, yes?
That's right. We just spoke to her office a short time ago and got confirmation that in just about 15 minutes, we're expecting to hear Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton address her colleagues in the House. She will urge them to vote this bill down. She says the D.C. Crimes Act will do very little to keep us safe. In fact, it will only strip D.C.'s authority to increase or decrease jail sentences.
At issue, the Youth Rehabilitation Act of 1985. The law allows judges to impose shorter or alternative sentences, like probation or time in a treatment facility, for anyone under 25 years old. It also sets aside convictions if that sentence is completed. The only exception if that youth offender is charged with murder or sexual abuse. U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves is a vocal opponent of YRA.
They made that law more lenient in 2018. by allowing judges not to impose the mandatory minimum for armed carjacking.
And now congressional Republicans are weighing in. They're poised to vote on the D.C. criminal reforms to immediately make everyone safer, or D.C. Crimes Act for short. The legislation, introduced by Florida Republican Byron Donalds, would change the age of youth offenders to only those under the age of 18. D.C. Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton says the bill would also prohibit the D.C. Council from making any changes to local sentencing guidelines or pass any new crime bills. In fact, President Joe Biden said secure D.C. would not be possible if this House bill were enacted, in a statement saying it is, quote, a counterproductive and destructive invasion of the district's right to self-governance and would impede public safety and crime reduction. This bill highlights why the District of Columbia should have statehood. The latest MPD data shows violent crime is down 26%. But according to the D.C. Policy Center, the juvenile arrest rate in the district is still nearly double the national average. Attorney General Brian Schwab, who prosecutes juvenile cases, says, quote, Congress cannot have it both ways. They cannot both criticize D.C.'s crime rate and then block our every attempt to reduce crime.
And the Attorney General goes on to call this political theater that will not make the district any safer. We know that Mayor Bowser and Council Chairman Phil Mendelson are also opposed to this bill. Again, we're expecting to hear on the House floor Delegate Eleanor Holmes Norton, who will address her colleagues, urging them to vote this bill down ahead of their scheduled vote around 5:30 this evening. For now, we're live on Capitol Hill. Delia Gonsalves, WUSA 9.
We've heard her describe this as radical and undemocratic, and of course, this is something that we're going to be watching very closely. Delia, we'll check in with you for those updates. Thank you.